Yacht 8 Masananishla. This is Grandma. These are road stories that I'm going to tell you as we have come back into New Mexico. This is the road called 550. This is the top of this hill, and this is called the Continental Divide. And that is a start of our video. So now you can say you have been to the Continental Divide. Now we're going to pull over. It says Continental Divide, elevation 7,380 feet. And this runs all along north and south of New Mexico. Just wanted to give you an FYI there. As a child, I rode in a pickup truck back and forth on this road going to Pueblo feast days. This road has great meaning to me. There used to be just 2 lanes here. Sometimes you would see wagons. People at the time still had wagons. We are coming upon this. It's a casino over here, and it used to just be a grocery store, and then it became a casino. But when the road leads out there. Look at this, is all Native American reservations. The Jicarilla tribe is out there, and this is their casino out in the middle of nowhere. And this is, you know, where you can gas up, and it was good to have a store here. But they have TP type of things. And this is, I've never been here other than it just says, what does it say?
Apache Nugget.
Apache Nugget. The Jicarilla Apache are on this side, the north side of 550. Then across this road, the highway, here is the Navajo reservation across the way. See all that land? Now when they gave this land to us, they thought, oh goodness, doesn't it look kind of sad? I mean, it's like, look at that. Nothing out here. But we're going to show you why Brigham Young wanted this, why the white people wanted this land, because they sent government agents here to see if this land had any worth. But look what they found out. They found out they had what? Oh my, they had oil. And so underneath all of this, I will show you this massive oil. And this is prime oil. It is so fine and perfect. And this is what Joe Biden stopped. And Native American environmentalists paid by the Democrats to stop this, so that, and Russia as well, because Russia wanted to be the pinnacle of where, you know, for gas and oil, and take that from Iran. Oh, it's political, I promise. This whole area has a lot of politics, and this is where much of, you know, the land is so rich. The attorney for the Cobell case we had, he said, you guys should be living in palaces. You know, for as much oil comes from here, it is incredible, and the purest and the most refined. I'll show you more about this. Now around the corner over here, it's kind of a thought I have, and it was during Thanksgiving at one point, and my sister made the turkey, and we put it in the back of the trunk, and it was the gas back then. You know, the cars weren't as refined and wonderful. And my father stopped at this corner right here, and found out that the turkey was completely, it smelled like, oh, it was awful. It was just awful. So we didn't have Thanksgiving that year. I remember Dad taking a bite and throwing the whole turkey out right here in this corner. And my mother cried, we all cried. I don't know what we did. The mashed potato, everything was thrown over here. I have so many memories here. And my grandfather's land is around over the hill over there. It's in Counselor. A lot of information here. Looks bleak, like nothing, but there is life and there is riches. Mineral, below ground minerals, that is powerful. The government has given us these allotted lands, and we did get above and below minerals and everything. So we get paid for whatever dribblings of oil. I mean, we're looking at, you know, $100 a month. Ironically, the oil companies are taking in billions of dollars while they, you know, shred us, you know, $100 a month. It is filthy. It is sick. And so this is what we've lived under. And you can't fight the oil companies. People have tried. They band together. Do you think they want to lose all of this oil? Heck no. So this is my version, and it's true. Oil, they have oil reserves all over the place. Look at all this. This is where they get their billions. And then they give everybody, the Navajos, a fraction of, I don't even know if it's a fraction. All this whole road right here is full of oil containers or whatever they're called, and it is filthy what these white people are doing. These are oil companies, and they complain because we complain. See where they have their oil? It's covered. They have flares. Everybody's complaining about their flares and whatnot. But there's oil, these oil reserves everywhere. And it is prime oil. Oil and gas here. And it is huge. Now I think it's called methane that was in the air all around. Everybody's complaining. Navajo's saying, oh, it's killing us. It wasn't killing anybody. They got a sore throat and they cry. They just don't want this. They say we're butchering Mother Earth. Oh, you should hear. You know what? I just told, when I was running for Navajo Nation president, I said, okay, for everybody here in this chapter and in all around the Navajo Nation, because you guys are all against oil and gas, do you know? And I counted and recounted what they're wearing, what they have on them at this point, their car, their clothes, the plates we were eating on, their shoes, their clothes. I said, do you even know what you're saying? You are wearing, if you did not have oil and gas, you would not be able to have what you have. And for those of you who are radical about it, and you all came in your beastly trucks full of gas because the left and Biden is paying you off, as well as Hillary Clinton and Russia, so that you can stop the oil here, the oil and gas, that you all have money. You're not thinking of your family, your Navajo families, your nation. You want it stopped. And all of you since you hate it, every one of you put your blasted keys down and leave your trucks. Walk home. Get your dang horses and wagons and start using them again. I said, I'll bet you none of you will do that. You don't have the courage, you don't have the guts, but you will flap your mouth and degrade everybody who wants this. And I wanted that. I want exploration of oil, and I'm right behind Trump to say, heck yeah, drill baby drill. There's nothing wrong with that. This is what Mother Earth and what God blessed us with. It's a sick disease of everybody trying to say and do certain ridiculous things. Okay, on to this story. There's a traders. It used to be these Chapman, they're called Chapmans. They're members of the Mormon church, okay? And they own this. They used to, I don't know where they are. I think they're all dead now. And there used to be a monkey over here I used to love. But they have a trading post here. And you see it has jewelry and rugs here. Look at this. Jewelry and rugs. And what they would do, I'll tell you, this is filthy as well. In fact, these people were also the ones that have a church way over there, the Mormon church. And they have a tractor, or I don't know, those things that dig into the ground, and they help bury the Native Americans. Well, let me show you something here. This area to the right, where's the cemetery? Oh, there's the cemetery right there. All in that passed over this little hill. And there's the Mormon church right over there. And that church over there, if you can see it, and these people at night after they bury, now remember these Navajos would put the jewelry all over their dead person, their all kinds of stuff. And the rugs, they'd wrap them in there and whatever. Well, right there at night, that night after they bury their dead, that the people, and I'm going to say Chapmans and their family and their friends who buried these Navajo people, would dig them up and take their stuff and take it back, let's see, to that store back there. I don't know if you can see it back there. And all of a sudden, we know this because my grandmother was buried here. And my auntie. And all of a sudden, my father went to the store back there. And her jewelry was in the jewelry case. And her things were there. This is what they do to us. And have done, and they probably still do. And anyways, this is the Brethren. Now it's called the Brethren Cemetery. It's over there, if you can see. So everybody does strange things. I'm not saying I want you to cry about this, okay? It's just this is the reality of this road. This is my life. Oil. Look at this. Now we're in an area called Liebrook, New Mexico, right off of the 550 road. Now I'm going to tell you something here, which I told you I refused to say, but I'm going to say it anyways. Back here, okay, wait, what am I doing? Oopsies. Back here in my mother used to live there, and there was a house back there. And you need to remember, we have skinwalkers. It's evil, it's satanic, And they do this to kill each other. Jealousy, hate, envy, everything satanic, everything I don't want any of you to have. We are to love one another, and these people have created these dangerous things. And they will, my mother happened to leave from the house that's over there, and my father took her and they had to go somewhere. Well, her sister said, well, I'll stay in your bed and I'll take care of the house. And she left the window open, and we just had a screen, and they had skinwalkers come, and they've been after to kill my father, because my father's a police officer, my grandfather is a Navajo Nation councilman, and because they were not, you know, they were, compared to the rest, a little more well-to-do. And not that they were well-to-do, but they were leaders. And these people, this is our family, hating our, you know, our own relatives, came here and put poison on my auntie, which is my mother's sister, and she died. They found her the next morning, swollen up, purple, just black, and it was sad. They were after my mother, and so my father and my mother moved from there. This is what happens out here in the Navajo Nation. It happens, you know, you have the deep state, you have evil. Well, we have skinwalkers, and they do exist. And there's a lot of nasty things. See that hogan over there? I think that's it. That there's a hogan there that my mother used to have, and it was sad. I was at the wrong place. So there's all kinds of sad experiences. It's not just the white men doing this, it's what Native Americans do to each other, just like you know, people shoot each other and do all kinds of horrible things to one another. So that is, don't freak out. These are truths along 550. It's called a right-of-way. They have gas that runs along here, and across over here, here's more oil tanks, and then more oil here. And look at all these. And they run the gas line here, and they pay white people like $25. I don't know what the footage is, but for the Navajo people, you can only get paid like $10, $5. If you complain, they'll just tell you, and they'll get you out of it. And they'll pay somebody else in your family, but, or if not, you just lose it. And also coming up over the hill, now I don't know if I have ever told you this, but when I was a child, again, this is my life. This little store here, it's called Store 44. And this is the place where it was a small store. And where Grandpa got me ice cream, popcorn, soda. That was the stop. It doesn't look like this at all anymore. It was a small little thing. And here's Chaco culture. This is Chaco Canyon, and we're going to visit that. That's the road to Chaco. Very sacred place. Here are some of the Navajos that live there. And this whole place is being used. It's drilled to the hilt, and they stopped most of it. And I'll give you a rundown. See these roads, that road over there, it's a dirt road. That's what the oil companies created, never was there before. And see, here you go, here's somebody taking away lots of gas and oil. And where is it going? Not one bit of it is helping any of these people. The white people still do what they do. And, you know, you can tri-ball. My brother, or they hired my brother, Roger, and they showed him how to put, you know, they have meters on how they, you know, on the tanks, and they showed him how to change the meter so that it read less, and then they would put the original one back on. Well, my brother explained that, and of course they refuted everything, and he was just one dumb Indian, and really sad. This is what they continue to do. Now, I already told you what they did, but this is the stuff that continues to happen. And we live in it. We still live in it. And out here, everything, you know, you look at this land and you think, oh, it looks kind of useless. It's not useless. It's covered with, down underneath, it's got oil and gas. I mean, you can see way over there, more tanks. And this is why, like I said, when we had the Cobell lawsuit, you know, the attorney said, you guys should be living in palaces. And look at us. We're not. This place is called Nayizi. Nayizi means squash. And down here, post office over here. And then as you go along this road, there's all kinds of oil and gas. Gas lines, gas tanks, oil tanks. I mean, it's riddled. And there's one of the sacred mesas. They call it Zitnaotis. And so you're not supposed to go atop that, but the white people said, never mind, who cares if that's sacred? So what did they do? They went atop there and put electrical lines, phone lines, or not lines, phone, and all kinds of telephone poles, everything up there above that. So nothing sacred anymore, I tell you. It's crazy. This is 2024 and they're still doing it to us. See how beautiful this place is? All of this is rich. It is rich with oil and gas. And they thought they gave us trash. Well, that's why Brigham Young tried to chase all the Navajos in the Bosque Redondo Trail of Tears so they could ship them off to Florida so he could have his deseret. There's so much people don't realize, and who instigate this and that and how it came about. This is history that they don't dare tell. And I'm telling you the truth. Now here's where a bunch of people live. Do you think does that look like a palace over here? Oh, no palace. No palace. No palace. None. This is what's meted to us. And we all get, what? $100 a month for our oil and gas, while the oil companies have billions and billions. Very painful sometimes to talk about it. This road, 550. See, look at this. I don't know if these are oil workers or what. You'd see trucks like that. That's what they do. But anyways, this right here is called Blanco Trading. Look at Blanco Trading Post. And this is where my grandfather used to come up and over Chaco Canyon and come here. And our family was in Nayizi back there. And so we, this was like the coolest trading post. They had food, cheese, bologna, Oh, and jewelry. Oh, so beautiful. And it's always been a favorite place. It says look at this road is not taken care of. I'm taking you down here for a reason. Now remember this road as Grandma. It says, notice no access to Chaco. You can't go to Chaco Canyon from here anymore. And what a messy road. Now I'm going to tell you this story. Navajos, what you call 49er, they have dances, and they have, when they get together. And so they come together at night and they eat together, they dance. Sometimes it's for, the health of another. And so I'll put the name of it in Navajo on this video. So my father was hated. I'm sorry, because he was a police officer. He was a Navajo police officer. He had a white and black panel truck, and it was really cool. Now over here they were having a squaw dance. It was at night. They had a fire. I don't know where it was down the road. And my mother and I were with him because he was patrolling, just to keep the peace, to make sure everybody's doing what they ought to, and just making sure there is presence, because sometimes they do things that are not good. And so just to keep them in check. So we come up here, and I will get to the top of the hill and show you what happened. So over this hill, now some of these roads weren't there, and there's a hospital over there. Okay, if you can see, you have to squint. Way beyond there, there's a hospital to the right side of the road, and there's also a graveside. We're huge one. Well, anyway, so we were here, and my dad drove in here, and he kind of drove up and over, and we were parked maybe about here. And the squaw dance was happening further down. And all of a sudden, actually when we were about right there on the hill here, and Dad's police panel was there, and see, these fences weren't there at the time. And all of a sudden, from out of nowhere, we hear people, these men yelling my dad's name. And they were telling him and taunting him. And they were cussing him out. And they were somewhere over there. And we were sitting up there in the police panel. And my father said, oh, they're just drunk. My mother was sitting in the middle. All of a sudden we heard pop, pop. You could hear they were shooting at the police car, the police panel. Now remember, my father's by himself with my mother and I. So in the police panel, when they started shooting at us, Dad had a gear shift here, and he told me to lay underneath there. And he said, crawl under there. My mother was here, and he told her to lay down, and so she did. He opened the door, and usually he had a thing, it slides down, and it's like a metal something, and to cover him. Well, it wouldn't go down, and they shot his leg. Then they shot his thigh up there, over there, and scared the crap. And thing is, you got to remember, he's been in World War II. And he said, I've been shot. So he got his, he had like what do you call it? A CB thing here. If I'm calling it a CB. He calls in for help. And you got to remember, the Navajo Nation is way out here, okay? It's like miles and miles to Shiprock, to anybody, to Shiprock, any Native American Navajo police help. This is not like you come down the street, I need you, there's an emergency. Nothing. We're out in the middle of nowhere. And all of a sudden, my dad calls for help, and he said, they shot me, whatever. And then his sergeant said, here, I'm here. And he says, where are you? And he says, I'm, on this road. I'm in Blanco, and they're having a squad dance, and I've been shot. I'm shot in the thigh, and I'm shot in the leg. And he said, I need backup. Well, he was in Kirtland, okay, between Kirtland and Shiprock. He said, I'm on my way. Do you know how far that is? It's about a good, I would say an hour drive to get here. Okay, so my mother said a prayer, and my father said a prayer. I remember we're very prayerful. And my mom said, please send us some help. Out of nowhere, it was like probably within 5-10 minutes, okay, my dad wrapped his leg, and he knew the hospital was not far. And these guys are taunting him, and he actually fired back, but he wasn't going to, that was not the wherewithal for him. So they said a prayer out of the clear blue about within 10 minutes. 10 Navajo police trucks came, like in, like all lined up, and they came and they just flew past him, and they were out here, and they were, and everybody was screaming and yelling, oh, whatever. And what had happened, and meanwhile he said, I need to get to that hospital over here. And so he thought, well, where he's being taken care of, they're going to go arrest those people, stop the squad dance, whatever. I don't know what they did. So Daddy drove, and we came out, and he went over there and got taken care of. And my grandfather, he called my grandfather in at the Pueblo Pintado school, and they got a hold of him, and he came here so quick and helped my dad. And he took me home. He took me back to Pueblo Pintado, which is that direction, and way on the other side, way back. Where I said store 44, it's way back that way. And so he took me home. When the sergeant came, okay, my dad's over here in the, outpatient and in emergency, and they're taking care of him. His sergeant comes and finds every one of these men had been roped, like the cattlemen would rope, they had been roped together and tied up. And he said, how the heck did you do all of that? And you're here, and how did you do it when you're wounded? He said, well, I had 10 police backup. They all were in their panels. He says, I don't know who was there. And then he started naming names of the people who patrol around here in Navajo. And he says, no, that other guy, he's in Tuba City, or that guy's in Gallup, that other guy's, and my dad said, no, somebody had to been here. There's 10 of them. Well, they never found who the 10 people were. The 10 Navajo police cars that came and tied up these men. No one ever found that out. And my father did heal. And I think that, to me, is one of the greatest blessings that we get when we are prayerful. And God takes care of us. And he did send those men. And so when I look at these places sometimes, I think, if they were angels, they came and they went. No one ever found out. They were Navajo police panels. I saw them. My mother saw them. There was a count of 10. My dad was in shock because they came so fast. It was like 10 minutes. Boom. They all of a sudden just come, and they got their lights on. they have a long time ago, they used to have a flashlight, you know, a thing here, and they would, you know, flash around, and I know their spotlight, that's what they call them. They had their spotlights on all these people, and they were going after them. So this is the story that I really wanted to tell you, and it's a blessing. These are moments. There's no more hospital there. In fact, we went there and got my mother's records. They were just giving them away. And my grandfather's records, my uncles, you know, and some people who ever got sick, these records were just given. It is now run by some, I don't know, a church group. But the hospital is no longer there. But this is the miracle, I believe, that I will never forget. And God watched after us. And he does live. I want you to remember this and pray always, because he will protect you. He will bring you help. Do not fear. If you're hungry and you don't have anything, pray. You'd be surprised what blessings you will receive. You will be protected in these last days, in the end times. He is here. He watches after us, Grandpa and I, and he takes care of us. Please pray always and know that you are loved. This is the sacred Sitna Oditi. Look at all the how sacred it was. You're not supposed to go on top of it. Look at all those what are they different?
Towers.
This is supposed to be sacred, and look at all the towers on there. Phone towers, who knows, electrical towers, blah, blah, blah. That's how sacred we are here. This is the sixth sacred, there's actually 4 sacred mountains. So this is one of there's 5, there's 6, there's 2 of them. 2 extra, and this is one of the 6. Zitnao Diti. When the white people went up there, oh boy, you had a powwow. Everybody had their guns. It was a mess. And they said, you can't go up there. This is our sacred site. That's how sacred it got. Look at all the stuff on it. And see, look at this. This is where the huge oil and gas is as well, out there. It's called Herfino, all along here. I remember they dug this all up. Look. They have pipes all along here. I was little when they put these big oil pipes. You know, all this. All down there. It's like, it is crazy. And that's where they run the oil. They run it to a certain place. I mean, and then they gather it, I guess, at these big, you know, here's some more right here. But all along here, right on they have the oil. Big pipes. There's another one right there. Tank. And see, and then they gather at different places. So, boy, I wish I had the billions they had. I think we're going to end here. Oh, this is not the last thing I'm going to tell you. Up and over here, over this hill, my father and I were driving, and in his Navajo police panel. And so I'm with him, and there's a man walking, and it's going this way, okay? We're going north. We're going south to Grandpa's. So, and because Daddy was going to drop me off at Grandpa's. So we're driving along, and this guy, and my dad notices it's one of our family, you know, people that is our relative. And he had kind of red eyes, and probably because drinking and whatnot. So my dad is compassionate. He picked him up, And then he patted him down. It's just the way, you know, you're a police officer. You pat down a person. Even though it's family, he patted him down. He got in the car, you know, and he was sitting here and I was sitting in the middle. They had bench seats, okay? And Daddy was driving. And all of a sudden, this guy, I mean, we drove maybe a half a mile, and Dad pulled over. And I thought, wow, what's he pulling over for? And he told the guy, step out of the car. And so the guy stepped out. He said, I've got to do something. And then Dad got out and locked the door. Dad gets out and he goes around the front and goes over to this guy and notice that the door is locked. And I'm watching Dad, and he has him lean against the car, but this time he had him spread his legs further out, and then he started yelling at my dad. And all of a sudden I saw Dad put him on the ground, flat down. And then all of a sudden my father patted him down the legs. He had like 4 or 5 knives. One was just, I mean, it was kind of scary looking. He had made some of them himself. And so what Dad has always told me is that when you're in the world, you need to listen to your spirit. And people call it being intuitive. And that's one of the gifts of being a police officer. You start to realize and recognize that something is telling you something. Look at that. And that there's something not right. Now remember, it's our family, relative. And see, look at this. Look at that. Sorry. This is what we deal with. This is where they, I guess, gather the stuff. Anyway, so my father has this guy prostrate. And he is yelling and cursing my dad. And he said in Navajo, Dad says, what are you doing with these knives? You didn't tell me you had these knives. I already asked you and you said you had nothing. And then he was yelling, and he says, I was gonna kill her first and then kill you next. He says, because I know you love your children. He said, we hate you. You have put us in jail, your own family members. So what if we drink? You have no right. And of course, some of them have raped women, and he thought that he should get off scot-free. And he yelled and cursed. And then he came after my dad. So he had a little black stick. It was about maybe a foot long, and he always had that. And he smacked him with it, and oh, I'll tell you, that hurts. I know, because I've seen him use it on people, and it just hurt like crap. And the guy stopped, and he was cursing at him, but he couldn't, move because he'd been smacked with that thing. Dad grabbed him and put him in the panel in the back of the police car. And all the way to my grandfather's house, he was cursing, cussing, yelling, saying things about our family, how much he hated us, how he's going to get out and kill us all, and etc. and etc. Anyways, end of story. That's another thing that happened along this road. 550 has memories galore. That's why I'm telling you. I was a little kid when I saw all these things too. And this was the best road to come to Grandma's house. Every time we were on this road, we would stand on top in the back of our GMC truck, and the wind blowing in our hair while we're singing. We'd swallow bugs, but we didn't care. We were on our way to Grandpa's house. It was the biggest joy in our lives, and I wanted to share that with you. Okay, I think we're done.